Welcome to the Paycheck to Profit podcast, where your host, Robert Johnson, connects with individuals using their spare moments, improving their lifestyle by converting their paychecks into profits. Yo, what's up? Thanks for joining the Paycheck to Profit podcast again. My name is Robert Johnson, your host, and today we're going to get the privilege to meet with my business partner, Jeff Devine. Jeff, welcome to the gun show.
Oh, yeah.
I mean the podcast show.
Hey, no, it's all good. Hey, thank you, Robert. I'm super excited to be on the first call. This is an honor and a privilege to work with my favorite business partner, and I love that you're putting this podcast together. So thanks.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for jumping on and being number one.
Nice.
Yeah, so just as a reminder before we get into the conversation, for those listening, first episode, really the whole idea is that we're going to be talking to people that are in a W-2 or a contract job, something where they're just kind of trading time for money. And so we're really going to focus on what they're doing in their spare time to help kind of change that cycle so that they can create other streams of income and, like as the title suggests, turn that paycheck into a profit. So I'm really excited today. We get to talk to Jeff, and I won't share too much, but he's going to be able to get into his experience, his job over the last 20 plus years. And then we'll kind of take it from there and kind of segue into what he's been doing recently and how we became partners. So
Cool.
Jeff, why don't you take it off and kind of give us a rundown? What have you been doing for the last 2 decades?
Last 2 decades. So yeah, thanks. That
doesn't make you feel old, does it?
There's less air on top. 23 years ago, I started my first my chiropractic practice, and I went into business for myself. I was bartending through school and doing all kinds of odd jobs, including lots of jobs around construction and different things. So got into chiropractic, went through school, came out, and realized that I had to set up a structure and set up a formula and set up a business and get my LLC going, get everything going, and really drive that business. So, put it together, and everything built on itself. And 23 great years later, here I am. I'm on the other end of that. I've sold the business, and I became a W-2 employee of the owners of the business briefly. And I'm, as of this call, I'm 2 days away from completing that promise that I made to them when I sold the business. So I'm so close to freedom, and I'm looking forward to everything that comes after this. So
nice.
Just about there.
That's awesome. Dude,
Thanks.
So when you went to college for being a chiropractor, did they set you up at all for the business setup, and or was that, did you take classes for that at all, or did you just kind of figure it out when you got out of school and you realized that you had to put it all together?
You and I have never even talked about this. That was so unprompted, but it seems so scripted, because that's exactly what we all talked about when we got out of school, is that we had a 3-month class for business, and it was everything from LLCs to taxes to insurance billing and everything, running your own business, managing employees, HR. And it was really about 2 years worth of information that was all packed into 3 months. And at that point, it was the end of our 12th semester, and everyone was done at that point. So it was really hard to actually focus on it and really take it seriously. And a lot of us wish we would have taken it more seriously, because it's just trial by fire at that point. You jump out, you try to set up a system, you run around and find out who can teach you how to get that system going, and then you pay a lot of money to get people to help you do it. So
interesting.
We didn't learn a whole lot about it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And I didn't even think about it until right now when we're talking about it. But with 3 months trying to get 2 years worth of education, and people, they take lots of classes over those 2 years to go out and be in the world and become a business owner. So, I'm sure you had to get resourceful. Like you said, you probably paid a little too much for help from others that, you could have done yourself or whatever, but you went through that process. It seemed to work out well for you because you went 23 years and now you've sold your business. So congratulations, you made that work.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I think we're like 80 employees later. You know,
Oof.
yeah, yeah. It's quite the journey.
Yeah.
A lot of people come in and out of your lives when you have a big business, and so we ran a pretty large chiropractic healthcare business, collecting millions of dollars a year for many years, really running it at a high pace, and we were very systematized. A lot of fun, but man, that was a wild ride. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited to be on this side of it.
Yeah. So how many people do you see a day really? Like what's your low side and what's your high side? Like how many people do you
I've
adjust?
I've scaled back a little bit, and some days I'll see as low as 40 people, but most days, yeah,
Dude.
some days, and many days I'll see 50 or 60 people, and so a lot of times those are patients I've seen for a long time. These are long client relationships, and the adjustments are just a couple minutes, and we say hi, and they get what they came for, and but then there's all the new patients, the people that come in, they take an hour at a time, and that's really busy. And so, yeah, it's just trading time for money. You and I have tried to meet many times when I was at work, and I'm so pulled away and distracted, and I'm in front of somebody every minute of the day while I'm there, including during my lunch. And so, it's a massive trading time for money. It's massively rewarding. It's emotionally, financially, you know, to be a part of someone's healthcare journey and get them out of pain. But yeah, I'm tapped at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's an expenditure that my resources are just done. So yeah, can't really do a second job while I'm at the job. So my second
Yeah.
job was always after work. And so yeah,
Yeah. And that wasn't super easy to fit into the schedule either, right? You have three kids and a
right,
lot of
right.
activities, sports and all sorts
Yep,
of things. Like,
yep.
like how did you make it work over the last 2 years? I mean,
So
I
last couple of years of us putting our business together, it's been a huge portion of 7 to 10 meetings with these on, talking to you and talking with other team members that we've put together, and networking and everything else that we've done over the years. Um, yeah, just you just find time for it because it's important, and it's where we want to go with this. So same thing with you. We made time for it, and it was usually after the kids went to bed, or
yeah.
try to sneak in a date night or something like that. So you know how it goes.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people watching this hopefully have that experience so that they can know, that nothing, anyone who makes it look easy is not telling you the entire, the truth or the full picture. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of behind the curtains that I think from the success that people see on Instagram or social media, there's a lot behind the scenes that people don't see. And you're right. Yeah, there's just so much depth there that um, it's it's weird because there's so much time in the day when you think about it,
hmm
and it's easy to say, but so hard to execute. So, for us, being consistent is really important. And finding those times, like you said, after the kids go to bed, we know that that's important for us in our journey, what we're doing and what we're working on. And I know my goals, I kind of know yours, but like, what is the why? Like, why do you push yourself every day to do this versus just staying in your practice and, collecting a retirement?
right. Well, first of all, I'm in business for myself, so there's no retirement, there's no safety net. I had the opportunity to sell my business, and so I was able to capitalize on 23 years of work, but at the same time, and that was wonderful. But at the same time, I've never felt poorer in my life when the spigot turned off, and um, and so it's fun, it's nerve wracking, it's exciting all at the same time. But the why behind it, why would I give up something that was consistent and predictable, and um, is that I was not having enough time with my family, not having enough time for myself. when you work through lunch, you make poor decisions on how you eat. You make your decisions on exercise aren't always as good. Um, I used to play, up until very recently, 3 nights of soccer per week, and even then I was feeling more sore, more tired working through the day, and just everything kind of catches up and takes a toll. When you try to get the exercise and things you want, you have to kind of trade that for a little bit of suffering. And I really feel like there's a better way to do it. And I've seen a lot of successes in real estate, including some of mine. And I want to emulate that and really create more passive growth in my portfolio. So I decided that the best way to do that would be to separate myself from the business and really put a full-time approach towards generational wealth. And trying to find something that I could really, really set aside and reserve for my children. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that as a business owner, you didn't really have a retirement plan, right? Like you have 401k though, right? Like
Sure.
that's something that you can do.
Sure.
How's that been? Like at what point did you think that, 401k maybe didn't serve you to hit those goals that you need and kind of shift your mindset?
401k, there's always a way that we're going to get taxed on our growth. There's always a way that we're going to get taxed on our success. And, it serves as a decent vehicle for a lot of people. But there's, real estate has so many more opportunities when you can have a greater, scale of deductions, and you can have growth, on a short-term profit and on an equity side, all three at the same time. That's when you really start to see your time, energy, and money multiply.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So you noticed this probably, like, how long ago did you notice the idea of wanting to invest into real estate?
I've had a couple of properties. We've had a couple of rentals, and it's been great to have those. I have successes in my family with real estate, and I almost went on a path right out of high school. And so had I done that, I may have like circumvented a little bit of this, and like kicking themselves for not over leveraging themselves, in the 2015 to 2018 range. I know a lot of people that say if I only would have got in and done more during that time, but myself included, that's when we saw explosive growth, and I'm not sure to see that again in the near future. But like you, it's about trying to find out how do we position ourselves for the next opportunity that comes up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So, jumping over to kind of that switch from 401k mentality where you get taxed a lot, and there's really little ways to get out of that taxation. So jumping from that to what you're doing now, or what you did in the last couple of years, where you made some passive investments as well. So not only did you own some property, but you've made some passive investments into some bigger multifamily deals like apartment buildings, right?
Yeah. So the first opportunity I got into it's 156 units in Missouri. And a lot of people, yeah, I know, it's pretty cool. And when I tell people that, they're like, yeah, why would you want to manage that many people? And the coolest thing is I did it through a syndication. I invested into a group that was running the project and then getting property managers to manage the people. So I'm twice removed from that portion of that situation.
Okay. So sorry, back up there really quick. So syndication, you've got the group of people that kind of come together, but like, how does that work with, you said you were twice removed, like who does manage that property?
Yeah. So a group called the General Partners will bring in a syndication. They'll bring in the limited partners, the money partners. The General Partners will then manage the acquisition of a property, they'll manage the property managers who take care of the tenants, and then they'll manage the investors. And they're in the middle of this entire piece, but they manage that life cycle of the property and everything that happens within it. And so I found a group that had a really awesome opportunity. We invested some money into that, and we just started seeing that money grow. We get a deduction on our K1, which is part of our tax statements. And then we also are earning cash and earning a little bit of equity over time with that property. So just a great way to jump into a property. And so that was my first real exposure to investments with other syndication companies.
Wow. So yeah, you said, I mean, there was a lot there. So with syndication,
Yeah,
you have two sides of it. There's the general partner side and then limited partner, right?
right,
Okay. So you're kind of on the limited partner side where you were just investing your money into it.
right.
So, and you were kind of fortunate enough that, and actually, I don't know if this was the way you did it or not, but did you use your business to invest or was it under your own personal funds?
On the first one, I was just able to use funds that we had kind of collected, different cash values that we cashed out and moved money around to put into this first
Oh, okay.
investment. Yeah,
Okay. So you group money together from different areas, your
we
business
we
and
pulled money
savings and
together,
things like that.
sold, yeah,
Yeah.
pulled
Okay.
savings together. Yep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So that's pretty cool too, is that you were able to just get the money together yourself in your own way and be able to put it to use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, okay, so getting back to it where, we've got the limited partner. So you're the limited partner, you're just putting the capital in. And then these
Correct.
general partners are really managing the day to day. And from my understanding, and we've been on the other side of this too. So just kind of explain like what does that look like for a general partner? You kind of touched the surface earlier a little bit,
Yeah, sure.
but the work that they do, there's so much that goes into it where they're managing the property itself, but they're also managing the investors. So what does that part look like? Because that's kind of what we're doing right now and what we're working towards is,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, people think that that these groups just are, or that someone's able to just go out and buy an apartment complex, but even trying to find a deal is incredibly hard, especially in today's market. And so, finding a property that's worth buying that has the potential for cash flow and everything else is the hardest part of this process. And then bringing investors in to actually pay for that to kind of get behind the dream and the vision of a property being purchased, being taken from an underperforming property, bringing it back up, maybe resiting the entire property, putting new kitchens, new appliances, renovating these properties. That takes a lot of capital. And so one of the biggest jobs that the general partners have is finding investors to put money into a project. And that's the investor relations team does a lot of that portion, and that's just one of the pieces of the general partnership. You and I have raised a little bit of money for another project, and we got to see that firsthand. And so we've seen both the limited partner side and the general partner side and how those work pretty intimately over the last couple of years.
yeah, definitely. It's been a ride for sure. Working on 100 plus units is not something that I would have seen myself doing just a few years ago. And I'm sure you're probably the same way.
Yeah, it seemed impossible, or that was only banks or institutions that could even own a property like that just a couple
Yeah.
of years ago.
Yeah. That was the
And
mind blow for me. Like, what do you mean people are just buying apartment buildings like that?
these are small groups of real people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And, I guess I kind of understood from some standpoint, like REITs are kind of like that, but it's just at
Yeah,
a different scale. It's you don't actually get all the tax benefits though. So you're not
sure.
really like an ownership of the actual property or that company, but you just have shares in it. And so you have way less benefits from it.
There's far less benefits, and if one property underperforms in that group, the entire value of that investment fluctuates with the performance of individual properties in that package. So
Sure.
yeah, REITs are a great way when everything's going well. But like you're saying, there's far less benefits of that style of investment.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost feels like a REIT is probably a good entry point for somebody that maybe can't invest into a syndication, because the entry level for
Mm-hmm.
syndication is, it varies, but for the most part, it's a little bit higher. So,
Yeah,
a REIT might be a good option, or I think there's some things coming out with some crowdfunding style
sure.
um, options where you can put in lower amounts to kind of kickstart your investing. So I think that's a great option for people that are not in the position where they can drop, anywhere from 10 to 25, 50 grand, because syndication
Mm-hmm.
does kind of make it out of reach for the everyday person. Um,
True, true. Yeah, when you're putting in $500 or $1,000, we have to think about that. That's also going to generate a taxable moment,
right.
and you may have to get a CPA involved to help you know, deal with that taxable moment or something else. And so, there's certainly a threshold that you want to try to get up over. But
Yeah.
even at that point, the consistency of figuring out what your investment plan is and then sticking to it can pay off in the long run. So it can make any of that short term expenditure seem like a great decision in the long run. So
Yeah. Sure.
yeah.
So kind of get an idea of what syndication is. That's how you jumped in, and that's kind of how we met too, because uh, we met at a seminar a couple years ago, almost 2 years ago,
Right.
and we both jumped in and we're learning about the multifamily, the apartment process, and that's where we both dove in and learned through all of this. And we're still learning, every day is a learning experience for all of
Right.
this, but getting through an experience now and going into deals and helping and partnering with people through this 2 years, there's probably been a lot of good connections that you had made, I assume, right? Like what do you think you've gotten out of just changing your proximity to different types of people, and as you shifted from maybe more chiropractic to I'm now around more real estate investors and things like that. Like how has that changed your kind of mindset and lifestyle?
Lifestyle, I try not to change too much. Maybe someday. Um, but kind of mindset. Really, when you put even I guess even lifestyle, everything comes off your mindset. And they say you're only as successful as the five people you spend the most time with. Um, you and I have hung out with some uber successful people. We've also been able to spend time with really motivated, successful entrepreneurs, and to see how they spend their time, what they do in their day, and and what they bring from that. That just lets you refocus what's important, and that's probably why we spend so many nights on calls or on trainings or just absorbing as much information as we can after the kids go to bed or anything else. That's kind of why we do that, because we see what potential is out there, and that's probably what I've gained the most over these last couple of years of hanging out with these people has given me.
Yeah. Even on just thinking through that, even on like social media, I
Mm,
know I've gone through and changed, how I interact with social media. And I don't know about this with you, but I cleared out a lot of people or accounts that I followed that were more like, entertainment and comedy and things like that. And I really focused on who I was following, and people like Tyler Devereaux, Pace Morby, Alex Hormozy, Ed
mm,
Milet. And
mm,
now my feed is, if I am on there, I'm getting so much more content and that shit pushes me because I see that Pace Morby's up at 3:40 in the morning doing work and he's already gone to the gym or whatever, and I'm just like, man, that fucker.
Yep. Yep.
Like
Absolutely.
that's the work that has to get in. And everybody's got their own level, and he's very driven and very focused
Mm-hmm.
on certain things, and his lifestyle works for that. Anyway, I just thought that was an interesting dynamic too, that beyond just the personal people that you have in your life, but also the social.
What's kind of the
This,
clutter and the background noise that's really getting into your head?
yeah,
In chiropractic and probably other places, we talk about the mother, father, teacher, preacher concept, is that you're getting pre-programmed and reprogrammed from the beginning and all day long from all the repeat sayings that everyone says. And you've probably heard it like I have, like, why are you getting into real estate? You have
yeah,
a good job. Just go be safe and steady. Hawk your money away, have a financial manager take care of all of it. And I don't have any problem with financial managers, but I know that I can go out there and take my money and produce more with it. You tapped on it earlier in the call. You said, was that with money that I took out of my business, or was that, money that I had in other things and investments when I invested in my first
yeah,
apartment complex? And that's a great point, is that you can take money out of a business and you can get still pretty good interest rates. And if you can go and double that interest rate on your earnings on a property, you're gaining money for borrowing money and for doing the same thing.
yeah,
Of course, there's risks with that. Be calculated, be safe, make good decisions. There are certainly ways to accelerate your growth, and some of those ordinary but extraordinary acting people that you're talking about earlier, the people that you listen to, are doing this with their money.
oh yeah, absolutely.
In time.
Yeah, that'll be another topic and episode, but going into different types of life insurance, that's one that
Oh yeah.
I know I want to cover for people. I think that might have been, for me, that was where I pulled from. So I started, a life insurance policy and then put money into it, and
Mm-hmm.
then was able to withdraw from it and use that money. And so that's just another strategy that is available out there. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
that's like a whole nother topic we don't need to get into today, but
Well, I mean, since you brought it up, we do have a whole life policies on every member of my family, and we use some of that life insurance to purchase that first real estate
yeah,
asset,
there you go.
and borrow it at 3%, earn 8% on it, gain equity, and get a tax write-off. I mean,
Yep.
that's fantastic.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
real
good way to
growth
do
right
it.
there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, so probably wrap it up in a few minutes here, but I
Okay.
wanted to ask if you had any advice for somebody in your position. Maybe they're a business owner or they're a chiropractor. Like, what advice do you have for them that could maybe circumvent some headaches that you had when you went through it?
Oh, geez. I mean, have a strong stomach and be patient. Sometimes investing is not for the faint of heart. Projects go sideways. So what we've learned, and the things that we've picked up over the last few years, and especially just in the current climate with raising interest rates and property taxes going up, insurance rates going up, it's really slowed down some distributions and some of the deals I've invested in. And but that's okay, because I know that they're good properties, they're good projects. The operators, if you vet your operators correctly, the people running those projects that you can invest in, then maybe that they've gone through a couple of recessions, or they've gone through a couple of different scenarios like this. And I would say just careful investing and not being impulsive. This isn't Bitcoin, and we're not chasing, the newest sheep, or the
Dogecoin and
Doge, or any of those things. So, and I've been distracted by that stuff too, but in my time. But really investments are about sticking to a plan finding out what your stomach for investments is, what your risk exposure can be, how much time do you have left to invest if some of your projects don't go well, and finding out what that plan is, and then finding people that can help you execute that plan.
Nice. Love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
All right. One more question.
Shoot.
This is something I used to ask when back in the day when I used to interview for positions at the grocery store.
Okay.
Back when I could. I don't think HR would let me now,
Okay.
but just to get a feel for the kind of vibe or what kind of person you are. So
Cake or pie?
it's God, that's a hard one.
What is it?
If
Shoot.
okay, what is your favorite comedy movie?
Okay. Favorite comedy movie?
What's the one
Wow.
that you can come back to no matter what, always laugh, pull
Yeah,
you out of a bad mood?
yeah. If and we don't channel surf anymore, but you know how you used to channel surf and you'd go buy a movie or something like that. If I was ever cruising through there and Happy Gilmore was on,
Oh
I
yeah,
wouldn't pass that opportunity.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but we grew up with The Simpsons, and if the Simpsons movie were on or any of the Simpsons episodes, I'd probably stop there pretty quick. So,
Yeah, nice.
yeah, yeah. HR won't let us do that. What's this world?
Well,
What's this world coming to?
I don't know. Who knows?
I think all the listeners want to know what your answer is there too.
My answer is it's between two. Tommy Boy and Dumb and Dumber are always there.
Okay, nice,
I
nice.
lean more towards Tommy Boy, I think. Yeah,
Oh, I thought you were saying there was a chance.
it's one in a million, dude.
One in a million. Nice.
So, really quick, what I remember asking this question very vividly. I was with my assistant. We were talking to this kid outside of the store. I asked him the question at the end of the interview, and he dead face said, "Empire Strikes Back,"
Comedy.
and I was just like, I had no idea what to do.
Uh-huh.
Me and my assistant were like, "Okay, well, it was nice to meet you."
Little did he know that you own a lightsaber.
Yeah, right. Like,
Nice,
yeah, I
nice.
appreciate the movie, but that one, like, pay attention
Uh,
to the question, maybe.
yeah, yeah. That Jabba the Hutt, he's so funny.
Nice. Anyway, all right, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
Thank you for coming on, being guest number one, and
Yeah.
excited for things moving forward for you, and we didn't actually call it out, but you're going to be going on a little trip here, I think, to kind of celebrate the departure from your chiropractic office. So
Yeah.
hope you have a good time
Thank you
with
very
family,
much.
get to
Yeah.
relax and disconnect for a little bit, and then come back and we'll crush 24.
Thanks for calling that out. We're going to have a great time in Tahiti, and we're just going to get on an island, get away from everything, and take our kids out to the middle of nowhere and just reconnect as a family. And so we're super excited about that. And then
Awesome.
2024, we're hitting it hard. We're charging forward, and I'm no longer gainfully employed, so I look forward to talking to a lot of people that have heard this podcast. So thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff.